Hello and welcome to this new tutorial. In the previous video we discussed the topic of session search and we limited the creation of sessions by one session per player. Thus, we modified the session item widget so that it automatically updates the content when the session info changes. Today, I want to show you how to update a session and also how to add the members of the session in the member settings of the session lobby. In the Lobby Sessions widget, when calling Create a Session, you need to add the first member settings which represents the first member who is the owner. Just drag the pin and make an array, then make a member settings giving it the unique player ID of the host player. Go to the game mode of the lobby. There we will update our session. To update a session, call the easy OSS task, Update OSS Session. This task takes as parameter the session name to update, and a parameter specifying if the update concerns only the cache or the online data as well. Finally, a new settings structure to give to the session. As we did for the Create Session process, we will go through the Game Mode interface to update the session. Like that, you will be able to call the update session outside of Game Mode. So go to the interface and add the new function. This function must take the same parameters of the task. Now implement the function and connect the pins. To avoid errors, we do not do the update if the session is not valid. To keep our game mode always up to date, we need to update the lobby session variable if the task completes successfully. To do a quick test, I want to update the session once created. This is just to show you that the process works well. To do this, call the function of the interface that we just implemented and add new configuration to the session. What I want to update there is that the number of public connections, which was 3 at creation, so I want to change it to 10. For the other configuration, I don't want to change anything. Run a test and see the result. As you see, the number of public connections has changed to 10. My need for the update session function is to add members to the lobby session every time a player joins or leaves the lobby. So the work will be in on post login and on post logout of the game mode. To start, create a variable of type map, where the key is a controller and the value is a member settings types. We now need to add data to this variable when a player joins the lobby, so it's in the check for player controller's readiness function. It will be the same process we already did for player cards. Once the character has been spawned, we must add a key value pair to the variable. To add the member settings of this player, drag the pin and make member settings. To get the member ID of this player, we will look for it from his player card. Now we need to delete the key value pair of the player leaving the lobby. So, this is to be done in on post logout. Once we have coded the way to update the variable, we will create a function that uses it to update the members in the session. To do this, create a function and name it f_update session members. The process is to loop through the keys of this variable to get the member settings of each player. Then store these settings in a local variable in this function. Finally, update the session by providing this local variable. This local variable must be an array of member settings. There is no need to clear this variable each time the function is called, because it is local, so it is reset automatically each time the function is called. Once the list is filled, we must call the interface function to update the session. I'm not going to change anything in the settings, except the session member settings. And I also want to update the filter representing the number of players. Note, updating filters does not replace existing filters, so it's an append. But if the filter key already exists in the session, its value will be updated. For the member settings, we will pass the list that we have just filled. The function is now ready. We must call it when a player joins or leaves the lobby. So go back to the check for player controller readiness function, and call it just after updating the member settings variable. Same, we have to call it in our post-logout event. Make sure to place it after the update of the member settings variable. When a session update is executed, there is a delegate that fires by the OSS. It informs us of the session update, so it gives us the new updated session. Go to your game instance to bind. Search for session update. You will find an event that you can assign it. Click on Assign. There you have the updated session. Be careful, this delegate is not triggered for the player if he is not a member of the session. So his member settings are not added to the session. I want to run a test to show you that this delegate works well for the player when he updates the session. As you see, when the player created the session and therefore he is a member of this session, then the OSS provides him the updates. What we want to do here is to store new session updates. That way the player can always call his game instance to get the latest session updates. Create a variable of type map where the key is a string representing the session ID and the value is of type OSS session. Update the variable every time the event fires. Now we need to add a function in the game instance interface, which allows us to obtain this map. Add a function and name it getUpdatedSessions. Add an output of type map, where the key is string and value is of type OSS session. Return to the game instance, and provide the variable to the implemented function. To keep our game mode always up to date with the session, I want to create a timer that collects updates from the game instance. First, create a function and name it f_check for session updates. It is in this function that we will call the game instance to get the latest update of our session. Be careful, we will only do this if the game mode has a valid session. To do this, call the isLobbySessionValid function before proceeding. Now, from the returned value of the game instance, we want to check that our session exists in the map. If yes, then we will set the lobby session variable. On Begin Play event, create a timer by giving it the name of the function we just created, and then check the looping box. Maybe you are lost in these implementations in the game mode, because you do not see any difference for now. You will see everything when we have clients in our lobby.
Just be patient.
Updating a session will update the cache for the player as well, so you can also use the node getNamed OSS session to get the update. That's all for this video. See you in the next one.